Captain Dae-ho Kim stood on the observation deck of the Times Horizon's Promise *, watching the endless blue oceans of Valeris Prime roll beneath the ship. 20 years had passed since humanity first met the aliens of the Galactic Council. 20 years since Earth learned it was not alone in the universe. Those years had brought many changes, but none more important than the friendship between humans and the Valerin people. Dae-ho remembered his first day on this world. The Valerin had greeted the human diplomats with open arms and curious eyes. They were strange beings, adapted to life in deep oceans, with smooth blue skin and large eyes that saw clearly even in darkness. They communicated through a mix of sounds and color changes on their skin. It took months for humans to learn their language properly. "Captain, we have an incoming message from Ambassador Ji-woo," Lieutenant Hana Lee said, from her station. Her voice carried concern. "She says it's urgent." Dae-ho turned from the window. "Put her through." The screen flickered to life, showing Ji-woo Park in her office on the council station called Concord. The massive ring world served as the center of galactic government, where 47 different alien species gathered to make laws and settle disputes. Ji-woo looked tired. Dark circles shadowed her eyes. "Dae-ho, we have a problem," she said without greeting. "The Krill are pushing for new restrictions on military cooperation between Earth and Valeris Prime. They're calling for a vote tomorrow." Dae-ho felt his jaw tighten. The Krill Dominion controlled 12 seats on the council. They were a warrior race, proud and aggressive, and they had never liked humanity's rapid rise in galactic politics. They especially hated how close Earth had grown to the peaceful Valerin. "What kind of restrictions?" he asked. "Complete separation. No sharing of military technology, no joint defense programs, no human military presence on Valerin worlds." Ji-woo leaned forward. "Dae-ho, if this passes, they'll force us to leave. Everything we've built here will end." Hana looked up from her console. "That's insane. We've helped the Valerin develop defensive systems only. We've never armed them for aggression." "The Krill don't care about truth," Ji-woo replied bitterly. "They're spreading propaganda across the council networks. They claim we're turning the Valerin into warmongers, that we're building a military alliance to challenge council authority." Dae-ho walked to his command chair and sat down slowly. He thought about the last 20 years. Humanity had been different from other species when they joined the council. Most aliens were discovered by the council and uplifted, given technology and guidance. But Earth had developed faster than light travel on its own. Humans had arrived at the council's doorstep as equals, not children. That independence had earned respect from some species and suspicion from others. The Krill, used to being the dominant military power, saw Earth as a threat. When the Valerin became humanity's strongest allies, that threat became intolerable to them. "What are our chances of stopping the vote?" Dae-ho asked. Ji-woo shook her head. "Not good. The Krill have been working on this for months. They've promised trade deals and political favors to species that might oppose them. I've counted the votes. We're going to lose unless something changes." Below the ship, in the underwater cities of Valeris Prime, millions of Valerin went about their daily lives. They had no idea that their friendship with humanity was about to be tested. Dae-ho thought of Yuki, the young Valerin scientist who worked with his crew. She was brilliant, curious, and kind. She had taught Dae-ho more about her people's culture than any textbook ever could. "Keep fighting," Dae-ho told Ji-woo. "We won't abandon our friends without a fight." After the transmission ended, Hana spoke quietly. "We follow our orders," Dae-ho said. But inside, his mind raced. He knew the Valerin Council of Elders would never voluntarily end their partnership with Earth. The friendship between their peoples had grown too strong, too meaningful. If the Galactic Council forced the issue, what would happen then? The next day brought the answer. Dae-ho was in a meeting with Valerin scientists when the emergency broadcast came through. Every screen across the planet showed the same image: the council chamber on Concord Station. The vote had been held. 31 species voted yes. 14 voted no. 2 abstained. The resolution passed. All military cooperation between Earth and Valeris Prime must end within 48 hours. Human military personnel must leave immediately. All defensive technology must be surrendered to Council inspectors. Deho watched as the Valerin scientists around him changed colors, their skin shifting to dark blue and purple in distress. Yuki's eyes filled with tears. She touched Deho's arm gently. "This is wrong," she said in her soft musical voice. "We chose our friends freely. The Council should not break such bonds." That evening, the Valerin Council of Elders held an emergency session. Deho was invited to attend as an observer. The meeting took place in a large underwater chamber, where holographic projections allowed the elders from across the planet to appear together. Hyun-woo, the eldest and most respected, spoke first. "The Galactic Council demands we abandon our human friends," he said slowly. "They demand we surrender the defensive systems that keep our world safe. They demand we bow to their will without question." His colors shifted to bright red, a sign of anger in Valerin culture. "I say we refuse." Other elders voiced agreement. Some argued for caution, warning that defying the council could bring consequences. But the majority stood firm. The vote was nearly unanimous. Valeris Prime would not end its alliance with Earth. Deho sent the news back to Ambassador Jiwoo and to Earth Command. Within hours, a response came from Earth's president. Humanity stood with the Valerin. If the Council wanted to break this friendship, they would have to do it by force. The 48-hour deadline approached. Council ships appeared at the edge of the Valeris system. Deho recognized their signatures. Krill warships, supported by vessels from 6 other species. A small fleet, but more than enough to overwhelm the single human diplomatic ship and Valeris Prime's basic defenses. "All hands to stations," Deho ordered. "Activate shields. Prepare for possible engagement." Hana worked frantically at her console. "Captain, I'm counting 87 enemy vessels. We're outgunned 50 to 1. Send a message to the surface." Deho said calmly. "Tell our people to get to the shelters. And tell Yuki." He paused. "Tell her. We're not leaving." The Council fleet stopped just outside weapons range. A transmission came through. It was a Krill commander, his reptilian face filling the screen. His translator rendered his growling speech into flat human words. "Human vessel, you have violated Council law by remaining past the deadline. Surrender immediately, or face destruction. The Valerin have been declared in violation of Council security protocols. They will comply or suffer consequences." Deho looked at his crew. They were scared but determined. They had come to love this world and its people. They would not run. "Tell the Krill commander we respectfully decline," Deho said. "And inform him that any attack on this world or its people will be considered an act of war against Earth." The transmission ended. For a moment, nothing happened. The stars hung silent in the darkness. The blue oceans of Valeris Prime sparkled peacefully below. Then the Council fleet opened fire. The first energy blasts struck Valeris Prime's orbital defense platforms. Explosions bloomed in the darkness like deadly flowers. Captain Deho gripped his command chair as the Times Horizon's promise times shook from a near miss. "Return fire!" he shouted. "Target their lead cruiser." The diplomatic vessel was never meant for battle, but human engineers had secretly upgraded its weapons systems over the years. Railgun rounds shot out at incredible speed, punching through the shields of a Krill destroyer. The enemy ships spun away, trailing atmosphere and debris, but it was not enough. For every shot the humans landed, 10 more enemy weapons lit up the darkness. The Valerin planetary shields activated, creating a shimmering blue dome over the major cities. The Council fleet concentrated fire on the shield generators. "Captain, Admiral Tae-Yang is on the emergency channel from Earth," Lieutenant Hana reported. "Third Fleet is mobilizing, but they're 6 days away at maximum speed." 6 days. Deho knew they did not have 6 days. The enemy fleet was already breaking through the outer defenses. He made a decision. Hana, get me a direct line to the surface. I need to speak with Dr. Subin. Dr. Subin Kang appeared on screen moments later. Behind her, Daeho could see the chaos of an underwater medical facility. Valerin civilians rushed past, their skin colors shifting wildly in panic. Daeho, what's happening up there? Subin asked. The council isn't backing down. This is a full assault. He spoke quickly. Subin, you need to start evacuating everyone you can. Get humans and Valerin to the emergency transport ships. We're going to buy you as much time as possible. Subin's face went pale. There are millions of people down here. We can't evacuate them all. Save who you can, Daeho said quietly. That's all we can do now. Another explosion rocked the ship. Sparks flew from a damaged console. The Times Horizon's Promise Times was taking heavy damage, but Daeho kept the vessel between the enemy fleet and the planet, using his ship as a shield. On Concord Station, Ambassador Jiwoo ran through the corridors, trying to reach the emergency council session. She had been blocked from entering the main chamber when the vote happened. But now she forced her way past security guards. She burst into the room, just as the council was watching live feeds of the battle. Stop this, she screamed. You're killing millions of innocent people. The council speaker, an insect-like being named Thren, turned to her. Ambassador Park, this is a legal enforcement action. The Valerin refused to comply with council law. The vote was illegal. Jiwoo pulled up data on her tablet and projected it for everyone to see. Only 23 species were present when you voted. That's not a quorum, and you held it in secret, without proper notice. This isn't law enforcement. This is murder. Some council members shifted uncomfortably. Others looked away. The Krill representative stood and pointed at Jiwoo with a clawed hand. The human lies. The vote was properly conducted. The Valerin harbor illegal weapons provided by Earth. We are protecting the galaxy. Show me proof, Jiwoo demanded. Show everyone here one piece of evidence that the Valerin have any weapons beyond basic defense systems. The Krill representative said nothing. There was no proof because it did not exist. The entire justification was a lie. And Jiwoo had just exposed it before dozens of council species. But the fleet was already attacking. The lie had served its purpose. Back at Valeris Prime, the planetary shields began to fail. The northern hemisphere's generators overloaded and exploded. The protective dome flickered and died. Council ships immediately focused their weapons on the exposed cities below. Elder Hyun-woo was in one of those cities. He stood in the central meeting chamber, surrounded by frightened Valerin, who had come seeking guidance. Through the transparent dome above, he could see the enemy ships descending. Do not be afraid, he said to his people. His colors shifted to calm blue and green. We chose friendship over fear. We chose honor over submission. If we die today, we die free. He activated the communication system, broadcasting to the entire planet and to the ships above. His voice was steady and clear. To the Galactic Council fleet, I am Hyun-woo, Elder of Valeris Prime. We have harmed no one. We have violated no true law. We only refused to abandon our friends. If loving peace and choosing our own allies is a crime, then we are guilty. But you who kill for such crimes are the true criminals. History will remember this day. It will remember your shame. The first orbital strike hit 3 seconds later. The city vanished in a ball of fire. Hyun-woo and everyone with him died instantly. 16 million Valerin perished in that single blast. Dr. Subin watched the explosion from her facility 300 miles away. She felt the shockwave through the water. The lights flickered. Emergency alarms screamed. Around her, Valerin children cried out in fear. Keep loading the transports, she yelled to her staff. Don't stop for anything. The Times Horizon's Promise Times was dying. Half its systems were offline. Fire raged through 3 decks. But Captain Daeho kept fighting. He had one transport ship docked, packed with nearly 2,000 refugees, both human and Valerin. He needed just a few more minutes to get it away safely. "Captain, our shields are at 8%, Hana reported. Her station was smoking. "One more direct hit, and we're done." "Hold position," Deho ordered. "That transport needs time." A Krill battlecruiser came around for another attack run. Its weapons powered up, targeting the Times Horizon's promised times directly. Deho watched it come. He thought of his family on Earth. He thought of Yuki and all the Valerin who had become his friends. He thought it was a good day to die, protecting people worth saving. Then 3 council ships suddenly exploded. Deho blinked in confusion. On his tactical display, he saw ships from the neutral species breaking formation and attacking the Krill vessels. Not many, only 5 ships, but enough to create chaos in the enemy fleet. "What's happening?" he asked. Hana checked her sensors. "Sir, some of the council species are refusing to continue the attack. They're fighting the Krill." "Hmm?" The distraction gave Deho the time he needed. "Launch the transport. Now." The refugee ship detached and accelerated away from the battle. Deho watched it go, carrying the survivors to safety. But below, on the planet, the bombardment continued. City after city vanished under sustained fire. The beautiful blue oceans began to boil from the heat of constant explosions. Dr. Subin got as many people into submersibles as she could, but there was not enough room, not enough time. She held a young Valerin child named Jae-hee as the ceiling above them cracked. Water poured in. The girl was crying, calling for her mother who had died in the first wave of attacks. "I've got you," Subin promised. "I won't let you go." She made it to the last transport ship with Jae-hee and 43 others. As they lifted away from the dying world, Subin looked back through the viewport. The planet that had been her home for 5 years was burning. Entire continents were on fire. The seas glowed red. The Times Horizon's promised times finally lost all power. The ship drifted, helpless. Krill Marines prepared to board and capture the crew. But Deho had one last trick. He activated the self-destruct sequence. "All hands, abandon ship," he ordered. "Get to the escape pods. Move." The crew scrambled to evacuate. Deho waited until the last person was away. Then he sprinted for the final pod. He launched just as the Times Horizon's promised times exploded, taking 3 Krill boarding craft with it. The battle ended after 14 hours. The Council fleet withdrew, their mission complete. Behind them, Valeris Prime smoldered. 340 million Valerin had died. Their cities were rubble. Their civilization was shattered. The survivors gathered at the emergency rendezvous point near Jupiter, in Earth's solar system. 2,000 humans. 40,000 Valerin. That was all that remained. General Kyung-Soo Nam, Earth's Chief of Naval Operations, met with the survivors via hologram. His face was carved from stone, showing no emotion, but Deho could see the rage burning in his eyes. "Captain Kim, Dr. Kang, you are ordered to give testimony before the Earth Council immediately. The world needs to know what happened. The universe needs to know what the Galactic Council has done." Deho held Jae-hee close. The little Valerin girl had not spoken since they escaped. She just stared into space, her skin a dull, gray color. He looked at the camera. "Tell them this," Deho said softly. "Tell them we watched genocide. Tell them the Council murdered an entire civilization for choosing friendship over fear. And tell them," his voice grew hard, "tell them Earth will respond." Earth burned with rage. In every city, on every continent, millions of humans poured into the streets. They carried signs with Valerin symbols. They shouted demands for justice. Some called for war, others called for revenge. All demanded that humanity act. President In Soo-yoon stood in the emergency session of the United Earth Council. The massive chamber was filled with representatives from every nation. Outside, the protests grew louder. Inside, The debate had been raging for 3 hours. "We cannot let this stand," said the representative from Korea. "The Council committed genocide against our allies. If we do nothing, we tell the galaxy that human friendship means nothing. But if we attack the Council, we'll be alone against 47 species," argued another representative. Insu listened to both sides. She had spent the last 2 days reviewing all the evidence. She had watched the recordings that Captain Daeho and Dr. Su-bin brought back. She had seen entire cities destroyed. She had heard the final transmission from Elder Hyun-woo. She had watched the light die in the eyes of Valerin children. "Enough," she said quietly. The room fell silent. "The question is not whether we act. The question is how we act. And I say, we show the galaxy exactly what humanity becomes when our friends are murdered." She pressed a button on her console. A secret door opened at the back of the chamber. Through it walked Colonel Bo-Ra Song, dressed in a uniform few had ever seen. It was pure black, with silver stars, the uniform of a program that was not supposed to exist. "Members of the Council," Insu said, "may I introduce Colonel Song, commander of the Ghost Fleet program." Confused whispers spread through the chamber. Many representatives looked shocked. Some looked confused. A few nodded slowly, as if they had suspected something like this existed. Bo-Ra stepped to the center of the room. She was small, but moved like a predator. Her eyes swept the chamber, measuring everyone present. "For 15 years, Earth has been preparing," she said. "We knew this day might come. The Galactic Council presented itself as a peaceful alliance. But we studied history. We knew that power without accountability always leads to tyranny. So, we prepared." She activated a holographic display. Images filled the air above the representatives. Ships. Hundreds of ships. Designs unlike anything the Council used. Weapons that looked strange and deadly. "The Ghost Fleet," Bo-Ra continued. 200 stealth warships that can cross Council territory without being detected. 50 carrier groups with advanced fighter craft. 1,000 automated drone vessels. And weapons systems the Council has never seen. A representative stood up, face red with anger. "You've been building a secret military force? Using what money? Whose authority?" "Mine," said a voice from the doorway. Admiral Tae-Yang Choi entered, followed by General Kyung-Soo Nam. And many others who understood that hoping for peace while preparing for war is not paranoia. It's wisdom. Bo-Ra changed the display. Now it showed new technology. Railguns that could fire from beyond the range of energy weapons. Stealth systems that made ships invisible to Council sensors. AI networks that could coordinate fleet movements faster than any organic crew. "The Council has rules about artificial intelligence in warfare," a representative noted. "They banned it after the machine wars 300 years ago. The Council also has rules against genocide." Bo-Ra replied coldly. "They broke their rules. We'll break ours." Dr. Minho Baek stepped forward. He was the lead scientist of Earth's Black Projects Division, a thin man with tired eyes who had spent 15 years creating weapons he hoped would never be used. "We have one more advantage," Minho said. He activated another display. Tiny metallic shapes appeared, too small to see individually, but visible as a cloud. Nanite swarms. They can disable ships by disrupting their systems. They can destroy weapons without killing crews. Or, he paused, they can be weaponized further, if necessary. The chamber erupted in argument. Some representatives protested the existence of such weapons. Others demanded to know why they had not been informed. But Insu raised her hand for silence. "I take full responsibility for these programs," she said. "If you want someone to blame, blame me. But right now, we need to decide. Do we use these tools to defend our values and avenge our friends? Or do we accept that the Council can murder anyone they choose, without consequences?" Krusting Mentor. The vote was held. It was not unanimous, Many representatives opposed military action, but the majority voted yes. Earth would respond with force. Captain Deho stood in a military briefing room, watching the proceedings on a screen. Beside him, little Jae-hee sat quietly. She had barely spoken since the massacre, but she stayed close to Deho. He had become her protector, the one stable thing in a universe that had taken everything from her. "Will you fight them?" she asked suddenly, in her soft voice. Deho looked down at her. "Yes. I will fight for your people. I promise." Jae-hee reached into a small bag she carried. Inside was all she had saved from her world. A blue stone carved with Valerin symbols. It was a memorial stone, used to remember those who had died. She pressed it into Deho's hand. "This is for remembering," she said. "For my mother, for Elder Hyun-woo, for all of them." Deho closed his fist around the stone. It was warm from her touch. He nodded slowly. While Earth prepared for war, Ambassador Ji-woo worked in secret on Concord Station. She had not returned to Earth. Instead, she remained at the Council headquarters, making contact with species who had opposed the attack or abstained from the vote. She met with representatives in private rooms, in quiet cafes, anywhere the Krill could not monitor. She showed them evidence that the intelligence used to justify the attack had been fabricated. She shared recordings proving the vote was held illegally. She reminded them that today it was the Valerin, but tomorrow it could be their own species. Slowly, carefully, she built a coalition. 14 species agreed to secretly support Earth, or at least remain neutral. It was not much, but it was a start. Admiral Taeyang Choi took command of the Ghost Fleet. The ships had been hidden in bases throughout the Kuiper Belt, built in secret over many years. Now, they moved into formation, preparing to strike. Taeyang walked through the flagship, the Times Fury Asterisk, greeting his crew. They were young, most of them. They had trained for a war they hoped would never come. Now it was here, and Taeyang could see both fear and determination in their eyes. "Listen to me," he told them in a speech broadcast to all ships. "We are not fighting for territory. We are not fighting for resources. We are fighting because the Galactic Council murdered our friends and expect us to do nothing. We are fighting to show the universe that humanity keeps its promises. We are fighting so that no other species will ever fear that choosing Earth as an ally will lead to their death." The crews cheered. The sound echoed through the ships. Captain Deho had requested to join the first strike mission. Despite his injuries from the battle at Valeris Prime, he was cleared for duty. He took command of a stealth corvette called the Times Remembrance Asterisk. It was a fitting name. Dr. Subin stayed behind with the Valerin survivors. She worked to help them process their trauma, to build some kind of life from the ruins. She also secretly began treating Valerin warriors who wanted to fight. There were not many. The Valerin were peaceful by nature, but some were so filled with grief that they needed to act. One of them was Velena, a young Valerin who had lost her entire family. She approached Subin with a request. "I want to join the human fleet," she said. "I want to fight." "Your people are not warriors," Subin replied gently. "My people are dead," Velena said flatly. "I am what remains. And what remains is angry." Subin sent the request to Admiral Taeyang. Against regulations and probably against common sense, he approved it. Velena and 15 other Valerin survivors joined the Ghost Fleet. They would serve as scouts and intelligence officers, using their knowledge of council systems to help humanity strike. The day came for the Ghost Fleet to launch. President In Soo-yoon made one final transmission to the Galactic Council. It was broadcast across all channels, impossible to ignore. "Members of the Galactic Council," she said, her voice cold and clear. "You have shown us what you truly are. Not a council of laws, not a force for peace. You are tyranny wearing the mask of civilization. You murdered the Valerin people for choosing friendship over fear. You have suspended Earth's membership and blockaded our trade. You expect us to accept your judgment and bow to your will." She paused, letting the silence build. "You were mistaken. Humanity does not bow. We do not forget. We do not forgive those who commit genocide against our friends. You wanted to see what we become when you take everything from us? You wanted to test whether human friendship means anything?" Her eyes blazed. "Now you will learn." Earth responds with fury. The transmission ended. Across the Kuiper Belt, the Ghost Fleet activated its engines. 200 stealth ships vanished from sensors, heading toward Council space. Admiral Taeyang gave the order. "All ships, jump on my mark. Target: Krill Home System. Objective: destroy their shipyards. Show them war." The fleet jumped to faster than light speed, vanishing into the darkness. Behind them, Earth held its breath. Ahead of them, the Council had no idea what was coming. The war had begun. The Krill Home System had never known fear. For 2,000 years, their world had been the military center of the Council. Their shipyards produced the most powerful warships in known space. Their generals commanded fleets that kept order across hundreds of systems. They thought themselves invincible. They were wrong. Commander So Young-han brought her stealth corvette squadron out of faster-than-light travel at the edge of the system. 6 ships appeared silently, invisible to Krill sensors. They drifted closer, studying their targets. "There," So Young whispered to her crew, pointing at the holographic display. 12 orbital shipyards, each one producing military vessels, and they have no idea we're here. The Krill had detection grids, defensive platforms, patrol ships. But all their technology was designed to spot Council vessels using Council systems. Human stealth technology exploited blind spots the Krill did not know they had. The corvettes moved like ghosts through the defenses. So Young waited until all 6 ships were in position. Then, she gave the order. "Fire!" Railgun rounds crossed the distance at incredible speed. The first shipyard exploded before anyone understood what was happening. Then the second. The third. Alarms screamed across the Krill homeworld as one by one. Their precious shipyards vanished in balls of fire. General Krelvar, the Krill military commander, rushed to his command center. He watched in disbelief as the orbital facilities died. His sensors showed nothing. No enemy ships, no weapons fire, just explosions. "What's attacking us?" he roared. "Unknown, sir," a technician replied, his scales pale with fear. "We're detecting nothing on any frequency." "That's impossible. Find them." But by the time Krill forces mobilized, So Young's squadron was already jumping away. They left behind 12 destroyed shipyards and a Krill military establishment in shock. The message was clear. Earth could strike anywhere, anytime, and the Council could not stop them. Admiral Taeyang Choi arrived at the Kepler Junction with the main Ghost Fleet 3 days later. The junction was a vital trade hub where 9 major hyperspace routes met. Council ships passed through constantly, carrying supplies to military outposts throughout known space. "All ships, execute the blockade," Taeyang ordered. The Ghost Fleet spread out, creating a net around the junction. Any Council military vessel trying to pass through was disabled by Dr. Min-ho's nanite swarms. The tiny machines infiltrated ship systems, shutting down weapons and engines without killing anyone. Within hours, 40 Council warships drifted helplessly in space, their crews unharmed but their vessels useless. The Council had never seen warfare like this. They were used to fighting species with similar technology and similar tactics. But humanity fought differently. Humans moved faster, struck harder, and used strategies the Council could not predict. Captain Dae-ho led the Time's Remembrance Times on hunting missions across Council space. He targeted supply convoys and communication stations, always choosing targets belonging to species that had participated in the Valeris massacre. He disabled rather than destroyed when possible. But when faced with ships that refused to surrender, he showed no mercy. On the bridge, He kept Jaehee's memorial stone on his command console. Every time he gave an order to fire, he touched the stone and thought of the 340 million Valerin who would never go home. The turning point came at the Battle of Meridian Gate. General Krell Var had assembled a massive fleet. 300 warships from 7 different council species. He positioned them at a strategic location, daring the humans to attack. It was a trap designed to overwhelm even advanced human technology through sheer numbers. Admiral Taeyang studied the enemy formation. His tactical officers warned him off. 300 ships was too many. Even the Ghost Fleet could not win this battle by conventional means. Then we won't fight conventionally, Taeyang said. He contacted Dr. Minho on Earth. Doctor, we need everything you have. Full deployment of nanite weapons. Minho hesitated. Admiral, if we use them at full capacity, we're talking about disabling an entire fleet simultaneously. The nanites will shut down every system on every ship. They'll be helpless. That's the idea. But Admiral, if something goes wrong, if the nanites malfunction, they could kill everyone on those ships. 30,000 crew members. And if we fight this battle with conventional weapons, we'll lose people too. Ours and theirs. At least this way, we give them a chance to survive. Taeyang's voice was firm. Deploy the weapon. The Ghost Fleet jumped into the trap. Krelvar smiled, thinking the humans had finally made a mistake. He ordered all ships to fire. The space between the fleets lit up with energy weapons. Then the nanite cloud was released. It spread faster than anyone could track. An invisible swarm that infiltrated every council ship simultaneously. Within 3 minutes, every vessel in Krelvar's fleet went dark. Engines died. Weapons stopped. Life support switched to emergency backup. The ships drifted, completely disabled. Not a single person died. 30,000 crew members sat in darkness, alive but defeated. The Ghost Fleet surrounded them, weapons ready but not firing. Taeyang broadcast a message to the disabled fleet. This is Admiral Taeyang Choi of Earth. Your ships are disabled, but your crews are alive. We could have killed you all. Remember that. Remember that humans gave you mercy when your council gave the Valerin none. He ordered rescue ships to approach, providing life support until council recovery vessels could arrive. The images were broadcast across the galaxy. An entire council fleet defeated without casualties, preserved by human mercy. The propaganda value was enormous. Ambassador Ji Woo used the footage to strengthen her secret coalition. More species began questioning the war. Some started demanding answers from the Krill about why the Valeris attack had been necessary. But Krelvar was not finished. He had one more card to play. Deep in Krill space, at a secret military installation, scientists had been developing weapons specifically designed to kill humans. Biological weapons that targeted human DNA. Chemical weapons that could wipe out human colonies. And they had one more project. Weapons designed to kill any surviving Valerin. The intelligence came from Velena. She had been working with human spies, infiltrating council data networks. When she saw the files on the Krill biological weapons program, she felt sick. They had been planning the Valerin genocide for years. It was not about military alliances or security. It was about eliminating any species that might challenge Krill dominance. They wanted us dead all along, she told Admiral Taeyang when she brought him the information. Her skin colors shifted rapidly, showing her emotional turmoil. The friendship with Earth was just an excuse. They would have found a reason, eventually. Taeyang studied the intelligence reports. The weapons facility was deep in Krill territory, heavily defended. An assault would be costly. But they could not allow these weapons to be completed. Get me Captain Daeho, he said. Daeho was already studying the mission parameters when Taeyang called. I'm going in, he said before the Admiral could speak. I have to. For Jae-hee. For all of them. It's a suicide mission, Captain. No, sir. It's a justice mission. Daeho looked at the memorial stone on his console. And I'm bringing friends. After the Secton rhyme. After the 40. I'm Secton. He assembled a strike team. 20 human special forces soldiers and 5 Valerin volunteers, including Valena. They trained for 1 week, studying the facility layout and planning their approach. The night before the mission, Jae-hee found Daeho in his quarters. She had been living on Earth with Dr. Subin, but she had insisted on coming to say goodbye. You're going to do something dangerous, she said. It was not a question. Yes. Will you come back? Daeho knelt down to her eye level. I don't know, but I promise you this. I will stop the bad people. I will make sure they can never hurt anyone else, like they hurt your people. Jae-hee hugged him tightly. Her skin was gray with sadness. You are my family now. Please, don't die. I'll do my best, Daeho promised. The strike team launched in 2 stealth ships, approaching the Krill weapons facility from different angles. They landed on the asteroid where the facility was built, cutting through outer hull and infiltrating the corridors. The fighting was brutal. Krill guards were tough and fierce, but human soldiers had trained for years in close combat, and the Valerin knew Krill psychology, predicting their moves. The team fought their way to the main laboratory. Inside, Daeho found exactly what Valena's intelligence had promised. Weapons designed to kill humans, weapons designed to kill Valerin, and worst of all, detailed plans for eliminating other species that might oppose Krill rule. The evidence was overwhelming. Copy everything, Daeho ordered. Every file. Every communication. We're taking this back to show the whole galaxy. But alarms were screaming. Krill reinforcements were coming. The team had minutes to escape. Commander Young-Soo Park, leading the 2nd strike team, held the exit corridor. Move! Move! He shouted. Get that data out of here! They barely made it back to the ships. Young-Soo was wounded, covering their escape. As the strike team jumped away from Krill space, Daeho transmitted everything they had found to Ambassador Ji-woo on Concord. Within hours, the files were being broadcast across the entire Galactic Council network. The galaxy watched in horror as the truth was revealed. The Krill had not been defending the Council. They had been planning systematic genocide. The Valerin were just the first target. The evidence from the Krill weapons facility spread through the galaxy like fire. Every Council species saw the same horrifying truth. Detailed plans for eliminating dozens of civilizations. The Valerin were just the beginning. Any species that might challenge Krill dominance was on a list for future removal. On Concord Station, riots broke out. Representatives from targeted species attacked Krill delegates. Security forces struggled to maintain order. The great ring world that had stood as a symbol of galactic unity was tearing itself apart. Ambassador Ji-woo watched from a secure location as her secret coalition grew rapidly. Species that had supported the Krill now frantically switched sides. Within 3 days, 32 species voted to expel the Krill Dominion and its closest allies from the Council. The vote was public this time, broadcast across all channels. There was no hiding, but the Krill did not go quietly. General Krell Var, facing disgrace and military defeat, made one final threat. He appeared on every screen, his reptilian face twisted with rage. If the Council will not stand with us, then the Council means nothing, he declared. We have planet-killer weapons. Unless Earth withdraws its fleet and accepts punishment for its attacks, we will use these weapons on human colonies. Starting with New Sol. New Sol was humanity's largest off-world colony, home to 2 million people. The threat was clear and immediate. President In Soo-yoon received the message in her office on Earth. Around her, military advisors argued about responses. Some wanted to strike first. Others counseled negotiation. The room was chaos. In-soo raised her hand for silence. Get me Admiral Tae-yang. The Admiral appeared on screen, broadcasting from the Times Fury **. Behind him, his bridge crew worked frantically. We can hit their planet-killer bases, Taeyang said immediately. But not all of them. If even one launches, millions die. Then we need another option. There is one, said a new voice. Commander Young-Soo Park, bandaged from his wounds but refusing to rest, stepped forward. Let me take my team to the Krill homeworld. Not to attack, to capture their leadership. The room went silent. The idea was insane. The Krill capital was the most heavily defended location in their territory. Penetrating it would be nearly impossible. It's a suicide mission. Someone objected. No, Young-Soo replied calmly. It's a justice mission, and I have a plan. His plan was audacious. While the Ghost Fleet launched a massive diversionary attack on Krill military bases, Young-Soo would lead a small team to infiltrate the capital, using captured Krill ships. They would insert during the chaos, capture the Krill High Council, and get out before anyone realized what happened. It required perfect timing and incredible luck. In-Soo looked at Young-Soo, seeing the determination in his eyes. Do it, she said. The operation launched 48 hours later. Admiral Taeyang led the largest Ghost Fleet assault yet, hitting 6 Krill military installations simultaneously. The Krill military scrambled to respond, pulling forces from around their territory, including from the homeworld. Young-Soo's team, dressed in captured Krill uniforms and flying stolen ships, slipped through the confused defenses. They landed at the capital's main government complex. Valerin was with them, along with 2 other Valerin survivors. Her knowledge of council protocols helped them navigate the building. The Krill High Council was in emergency session, debating whether to actually launch the planet killers. Half wanted to, seeing it as their only leverage. Others feared the consequences. They did not notice the doors being sealed from outside. Young-Soo and his team burst in with weapons ready. Nobody move. The council members froze. Some reached for weapons but stopped when human soldiers trained rifles on them. In less than 2 minutes, the entire Krill leadership was captured. Tell your military to stand down, Young-Soo ordered the Krill prime leader. Or we broadcast your surrender to the whole galaxy right now. The Krill leader, a massive reptilian named Krelzar, glared at the human with pure hatred. You dare. Yes, I dare, Young-Soo interrupted. Your people murdered 300 million innocents. You threatened to kill millions more. And for what? Power? Pride? Your empire is finished. The only question is how many more die before you accept it. Valerin stepped forward. She was small compared to the Krill, but her colors shifted to aggressive red and orange. My entire world is dead because of you. Every person I loved is gone. I have spent weeks wondering what I would do if I ever faced you. The Krill leader sneered at her. Weak Valerin. You should have submitted when... Valerin slapped him. The sound echoed in the chamber. For a moment, everyone froze in shock. No one attacked a Krill leader, and lived. But Valerin just looked at him with calm eyes. That was for my family, for my world, for all the others you planned to destroy. She turned to Young-Soo. Take him away. Let justice decide his fate. The extraction was textbook perfect. Young-Soo's team got the captured council members to their ships and launched before Krill forces could respond. By the time the military realized what happened, the prisoners were already jumping to Earth space. With their leadership captured and their genocidal plans exposed, the Krill military collapsed. Some units tried to fight on, but most surrendered. The planet killer weapons were never launched. The trial of the Krill High Council became the defining moment of the new era. It was held not on Concord Station but on a neutral world, overseen by a coalition of species that included both council members and independent civilizations. Captain Dae-ho was called to testify. He walked to the witness stand, with little Jae-hee beside him. She had asked to come, to see justice done. He held her hand as he spoke. I watched Valeris Prime burn, Dae-ho said quietly. His voice was steady, but filled with pain. I watched a civilization die because they chose friendship over fear. The council claims they were enforcing laws. But I was there. I saw no criminals. Only people trying to live in peace. Quo. He looked directly at Krelzar and the other accused. You killed them because they were kind. Because they trusted. Because they believed in something better than your empire of force. And you thought there would be no consequences. Jae-hee stepped forward. She held up her memorial stone, the blue crystal catching the light. Her voice was small, but clear. This stone holds all my memories. My mother teaching me to swim. My father singing songs. Elder Hyunwoo telling stories of peace. She looked at the accused with eyes far too old for her young face. You took everything. But you did not take this. You did not take what we meant to each other. And you did not stop others from caring. She turned to the judges. I do not want more killing. But I want justice. I want the galaxy to remember what happens when good people are murdered for being good. The trial lasted 3 months. The evidence was overwhelming. Communications proving the genocide was planned years in advance. Files showing the krill, intended to eliminate dozens of species. Testimony from survivors and witnesses. The verdict was unanimous. Guilty of genocide, war crimes, and crimes against galactic peace. The sentences were harsh. Krelzar and the High Council members received life imprisonment. General Krelvar and the military commanders who ordered the bombardment received death sentences, though these were later commuted to life imprisonment after pressure from species including Earth and the Valerin survivors. But the trial was only the beginning. Council Speaker Thren, representing a coalition of reform-minded species, proposed a complete restructuring of galactic governance. The old council failed, Thren said to the Assembly of Species. It allowed power without accountability. It permitted some species to dominate others. It created the conditions that led to genocide. The speaker's compound eyes fixed on the representatives. We must build something better. 9. We must build something better. Chancellor Wu Jin-shin represented Earth in the negotiations. He was young for a diplomat, but had learned much from Ambassador Ji-woo's example. He worked alongside Elder Myra, who spoke for the Valerin survivors. The new council structure was revolutionary. Every species had one vote, no matter their size or power. Military action required unanimous consent from a reformed security committee that included Earth and representatives of the Valerin survivors. Species that committed war crimes lost their membership permanently. Most importantly, the new council established a permanent peacekeeping force drawn from multiple species, with strict rules of engagement and oversight. Never again would a single species or coalition have the power to commit genocide without immediate consequences. 5 years passed. Valeris Prime was slowly healing. With help from Earth and friendly council species, the survivors were rebuilding. New cities rose from the ruins, built to honor the old while looking to the future. The oceans were clearing. Life was returning. Admiral Dae-ho Kim, promoted after the war, stood on the observation deck of the memorial station that orbited Valeris Prime. Beside him, Jae-hee was now a young woman, training at Earth's Naval Academy. She had chosen to follow in his footsteps, to serve and protect, so that what happened to her people would never happen again. Do you think we did the right thing? She asked, watching the planet below. Fighting the way we did? Dae-ho considered the question. We did what was necessary. We showed the galaxy that genocide has consequences. That friendship means something. That peace requires justice, not just the absence of war. Elder Myra says forgiveness is important too. She's right. Your people are stronger than mine in that way. Dae-ho smiled slightly. Humans are good at fury. The Valerin are good at healing. Together, we might actually make this work. Below them, in the new capital city of Valeris Prime, a ceremony was taking place. The new Galactic Council was meeting for the first time on neutral ground, not on conquered station, but in a place that represented what they were protecting. A world that had survived. Ambassador Ji Woo and Elder Myra stood together at a monument built on the shore of the rebuilt city. It was carved from blue stone, the same kind as Jae-hee's memorial stone, and it bore writing in both human and Valerin languages. Never again, never forgotten, forever allied. Ji Woo placed her hand on the stone. Myra's webbed hand joined hers. Around them, representatives from 40 different species did the same. The monument was more than a memorial. It was a promise. The Ghost Fleet still existed. The ships remained in service, patrolling the borders of known space. They were a reminder that humanity had not forgotten how to fight, how to strike, how to win. But they were also a promise. Earth would use that fury only to defend, only to protect those who could not protect themselves. In the 5 years since the war, 3 species had asked to join the Earth-Valerin alliance. The request had been granted carefully, with conditions. Any species that joined pledged to protect all members equally, to stand against tyranny, to choose friendship over fear. Captain Dae-ho looked at Jae-hee. Your people gave us a gift, you know. Not technology or trade, something more important. What gift? You taught us that being strong means nothing if you won't defend those who are weak. That friendship is worth fighting for. That peace is something you build together, not something forced by the powerful. He gestured to the planet below. 340 million Valerin died, but their legacy is a galaxy that finally understands justice. Jae-hee's colors shifted to soft blue and green, the Valerin expression of hope. Do you think Elder Hyun-woo would be proud? I think he'd say this is exactly what he died for. The right to choose, friendship freely. To stand with others, without fear. To believe in something better. Dae-ho touched the memorial stone he still carried, now worn smooth from 5 years of handling. Yes, I think he would be very proud. Dae-ho 10-2. Dae-ho 10. The galaxy had learned its lesson. The Galactic Council was reformed. Justice had been served. But more than that, something new had been built from the ashes of genocide. A true alliance based not on power, but on principle. And at the heart of it all, humanity and the Valerin stood together. 2 species that had chosen friendship over fear, that had faced fury together and emerged stronger. The galaxy would never forget what happened when the Council massacred the Valerin. Earth had responded with fury, but humanity had also responded with justice.